Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? How is everybody doing today? Good, good, good. I want to just thank everybody for tuning in. This is part two of the Reveal Live series. Um, I want to start off saying, like I've been saying, this is something that I did not think was possible. I put all of my insecurities, all of my doubt, all of my fears into this project. Not only this project, but also my book. So, you guys missed it last night. We had Sharonda Marzette on. Had a phenomenal story talking about her daughter, Riley, getting diagnosed with cancer at the age of 2. So that's posted up. It's on my website. It's on YouTube. It's also here on Facebook. So it definitely was a phenomenal story. Got to see um, just her journey, talking about her story, just battling with depression, how she overcame it, and just ending it all with her faith in God. Um, so it definitely was a phenomenal story. So tonight, have another phenomenal guest. Tonight's series is on emotions. So just going to be digging in deep. I think everybody out there, we all go through emotions and just battling like what's in our mind, especially right now with COVID and with everything that's going on, you know, um, with the social distancing and the lockdown. It took some time for us to get in with ourselves. So, sometimes we're in with ourselves, our thoughts get to kick in. And so, emotions is actually the second part of my book. And I wanted to read just the excerpt from my book, Reveal, The Year Without My Dad. It is everywhere where books are sold, online, Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Books a Million, Target, and Walmart. So, emotions is a natural instinctive state of mind deriving from one's circumstances, mood, or relationships with others. Instinctive are intuitive, feeling as distinguished from reasoning or knowledge. So, my definition of emotions is a strange friend and can sometimes feel like your only companion. Emotion is like a police officer's gun. It doesn't always need a good reason to trigger. Sometimes it even triggers even in your own home. Emotions is like gray paint or rainbows. Emotion is waking up stuck in your bed and feels a lot more like a casket, crying in your bed, crying out for God. Please don't be offended if I feel like I have to seek a professional. It doesn't mean that you can't do your job. It just means that I think she or her job can do it well. We think professional help is good for diabetes and pills for high blood pressure, but mental illness is only good for exorcism. Emotions are repeating to yourself, I want a life, I want to live, and hoping you will live. So, yeah, that's just an excerpt from my book. During the time of me passing, my father passing, I went through a lot emotionally, physically, mentally. I battled just a lot internally. And so I wrote that down, and that was the reason for my book. So that journey alone, just feeling emotional, it basically feels like you're alone, and that's why, I wanted to create this series, to be like a safe space for people to come in and be able to talk, be able to just share their life experiences, because I know I'm not the only person that actually goes through emotions. We all go through emotions. It's a human thing that we all go through, that we all, you know, um, have doubts with. We all have fears. I think fear is another emotion, but there are different types of emotions, So most definitely with everything that we're going through, everything that we're battling, just to get outside your mind, because when you're in that emotional state, it could also get into a dark place. We talked last night about just seeking help, seeking, therapy. I'm an advocate for therapy. I ended up seeking counseling and therapy with the loss of my father. Ideally, it just didn't work for me, but I think the thing with me was I didn't have a culturally competent therapist, that was able to relate to my circumstances, just being from my background. Like in our community, African American community, it's very hard to find people that has been raised, not in a single parent home. I was blessed to have been raised by my mother and my father, and they were loving. Anything I wanted, I asked for. They tried their best to provide for me. So when I went to go see the therapist, my emotions was like high. Was coming to a point to where I had suicidal thoughts. But I didn't go through with them, thank God, because I knew that wasn't me. Like I said in my book, like I have thoughts of suicidal, but I'm not suicidal, and that's what I told my therapist. And so that was a breaking point for me. When we lose a loved one, it is just so tragic. If you ever lost a loved one, family member, or a friend, you know what it is you go through. The first question is you're questioning God, like why, you know, um, but you can't really question God because it's a part of life. I'm just thinking to the point of the fact that I was going to have my father forever, and sadly, he passed away. So we don't think about those things, when they're right up there in your face. So that was the reason why I wanted to seek help, because I knew who I was as a person. I was into fashion, was definitely heavy into the entertainment industry, but it was that pivotal moment when I woke up one day and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be in fashion anymore, which is my first love, my passion. And I knew then, like, this is not me. Like, it's a part of me to be in the fashion world. So that's when I was like, I can't do it. So I went to seek help, but throughout my emotional journey, what helped me a lot was just writing. I put everything on paper. I was not even thinking about like writing a book or anything like that. It was just my thoughts like out in the open, my emotional thoughts, like my journey. And then the main thing, there's a quote in my book at the very beginning, um, literally at the very, very beginning. It just basically says in every person there are two possible selves, the lead and the understudy. The understudy hides in the shadows while the lead takes center stage to do everything he can to get an applause. But the bows but after the bows are taken and the lights go down, the understudy takes center stage, performs to an empty room, hoping that no one can hear. So just during my emotional journey, that quote literally just brought everything out of me because I was living two lives, the emotional side of me and then the side um, where I was just, I guess you could say the more productive side, like physically going up, going to work, hanging around people. Um, and it felt like I was on stage. I had a mask. I didn't want to show my emotions because in our culture, we're taught not to show emotions. So I'm like, what do I do? How can I get through all of this? So that's when I literally begin to write and tell my story. I know for some people, the first thing you want to do is when you're emotional, you want to self medicate, but that's not the thing that you should do. That's the easiest thing to do. But when it comes to just expressing your emotions and like actually physically getting it out there, you don't want to do that. I would say pick up another hobby, write, find what's best for you, what you like to do. And yeah, that's what we should do. So During this Reveal Live series, I have several guests that will be joining. Um, I will go through the list. And like I said last night, this was an idea that I had, that it was literally, I think, maybe 2 months ago. I had this idea, this vision, and then I went to well, first I went to God and I prayed on it because I think it's very, very crucial that, we go to God first on anything, whether it's if you need advice on anything, whether it's relationship advice, anything with your job or just anything in general, I think we should go to Him first and just pray on it and then let it sit. So I immediately went to Him and prayed. And then I was like, okay, he gave me the okay and was like, hey, you need to do this. And so I went to my team, told them, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to do a live series. I want to have guests on. And they were like, okay, like, if you're sure you want to do this. And I'm like, yeah, I want to do it. And so ended up like just honestly reaching out to people, but not really reaching out to people. Like, I think it came to me, the people who I'm going to show you in a few with the lives, and was just my intention to motivate, tell my story, and let people see, me, see my journey from where I started from. I'm just a small boy from Humboldt, Tennessee, very, very small. And to see where I've come from, where I've grown, what I've overcame, and just to see, my future and everything that I have that I want and aspire to be. So, and then this is all a part of Donvinnie the brand, which we'll get more into that in the middle of the live series. But this is a 6-part series. And we had part one, which was last night with Sharonda Marzette. And then tonight, Joshua will be on tonight. And then on September 18th, we'll have Wes on. His story is phenomenal. I will be sharing his story later this week. We'll be talking about vulnerability and how it is just being an African American male being vulnerable, and also enraged with my pastor, my spiritual mother, Dr. Tanya Kenyon, along with having a conversation with my nephew. My nephew, Christus Boykin. We never really had a conversation, resulting the loss of my father, his grandfather. So we're gonna like get in deep and just have a conversation around that because I think it's something as men that we should do, So we're gonna be having a conversation around that. And then next, we will have Tony Enos. Tony Enos is a phenomenal artist. His story, his journey through life is just phenomenal. So we'll be talking with Tony Enos on September the 22nd. He's also an artist. He has a single that's out now. I believe it's called Positive. So I will definitely make sure that I share all of those information where you can find that as well too, so you can just talk to him. And his story is phenomenal. Like, his story is definitely, definitely phenomenal. And as I'm waiting for Joshua to come on, like I said, my book is out everywhere. Everywhere books are sold online, Barnes and Nobles, Target, Books a Million. You can also order it on my site, which is iamdonvinnie.com. I put a lot of hard work and a lot of thought into the cover of it. So this book was literally birthed from love. It is just a phenomenal, phenomenal story, just about my journey, and I'm so happy and glad to be able to share with everyone. And I'm super duper, super duper excited that it's here. You know, um, it is phenomenal. All right. So does anybody have any questions or anything for me? I'm gonna see where Joshua is. But yeah, but like I said, this live series is more than me. I my hopes is to help and inspire others to just live in their truth. Be who they are and just live their life. That's the best thing. You can hide behind so much, but being vulnerable and being able to just live your life is the best thing you can ever do. And that's one thing that I want to be known for, is to leave my mark and to be able to just tell people that I was here. Not only that I was here, but I was able to inspire and I was able to motivate and I was able to uplift someone throughout this journey, called life, because we go through life, there's no roadmap. There's nothing that you can prepare people for. Like if anybody would have prepared, tried to prepare me for the death of my father, I just don't think that it would have been possible, but I do think that that process not only helped me but healed me in order to just see life through a different perspective. I think that when you lose a loved one and you're able to, and you're close to them, matter of fact, when you lose a loved one and you're close to them, it just shifts you into not even a different direction, but just a different point of view of life. Like I noticed that, I look at death differently now when it comes to people, which is all death, but I cherish it and I appreciate it more so now than ever before. So I think that is just the best thing and the best growth process that I've gotten out of everything, was just with the battling through depression. I went through a dark period where I just it was dark. Like I'm telling you, like it was really, 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 really dark. So I just can't imagine, how other people go through things and they can't talk about it. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand. So, still waiting. Hopefully, everything is okay because we talked earlier today. Or if he can get in. Yeah, so I am very adamant. I try to start on time, as everybody can see. So, yeah, we'll see what's going on. But yeah, the breakdown of the live series is just basically off the book. I'll go into that. As you can see, it's reveal. Each letter is an acronym, is a word for the actual book as well as for the live series. So, realizations, which was last night, emotions, vulnerability, enrage, alienated, and love. So, it's kind of just like everything that I went through and that I experienced, during the loss of my dad. So I'm very grateful that I was able to do this. Um, like I said, it was a pretty easy process. If anybody is ever thinking about writing a book, it's a fairly easy process. I'll just say the hardest part is the editing, and just getting that out there. So yeah, so that was pretty much the process. But just going into the emotions aspect, what I battled through was just getting out of my mind and out of my head, not being aware of my surroundings, and when I say that is just people, because I did have people that wanted to aid, and guide me through the experience, but you don't know if those people are like genuine or really humble, at that point. People seem to want to kick you down at your lowest. And I felt like I was at my lowest point. You know, um, I didn't really want to talk about what I was experiencing or what I was going through. So therefore, I just held it all in until I came out with the book. So if you definitely purchase it, you know, are the people that have purchased it, I'm greatly appreciative of the support. I talk about, my father being in the hospital, realizing not having him in my life. And then I go into the whole therapy session, which I did a 3-week therapy session with a therapist. Um, but it made me still feel empty because, like I said, I didn't think they understood me or being culturally competent, which there are people, therapists that are out there that could be culturally competent, but at that time, I just gave up, on that. Yeah. But in everything, I'm grateful for this journey. I feel like if it was not for my father passing, it would not have opened up a light. It wouldn't have made me the person I am today, because I'm very big on the universe and just growth, period. And so I think that's a part of my growth, a part of my story, a part of everything that I have to just share. Even with moving forward, I think that it's the best thing for me to be able to have this journey, this struggle, to be able to go through it, because it could have been later on in life that this could have happened, and then I would have been a little bit older, maybe could have dealt with it a little bit more, but you never really know. Like I said, if anybody would have prepped me for this, I don't think I could have been prepared for it. I couldn't have. So this has been a roller coaster ride, and then just going back to emotions, like we all experience them. There's not a certain time or window when they show, like it just comes. Like I will never forget, was driving to work one day and was just thinking about my father, and then I just started breaking into tears. Wasn't even intentional, it just happened, and then I realized then that it wasn't a sad emotion. It was just more so, I felt his presence, because that happens a lot too. Like even to this day, it's been 3 years since I lost my father. I'll feel him around him. I feel him around me. But what I do is I just acknowledge it, and I'll be like, okay, that's you. Okay. You know, and then I'll have a conversation, but still it is just, it's amazing, just to be able to feel him. And then I'll never forget when he passed away. I had a lady told me, she was like, "Oh, he's still around. He just transitioned." So I didn't fully understand it and wasn't fully aware, but she was like, he transitioned. And so I'm like, "What do you mean transition?" And so she was like, "You'll understand." And so later on, that's when I started developing traits, which I think were always there, but they came out even more, after he passed away. When I started taking my shoes off, I realized I was taking my shoes off exactly like him, or when I would introduce myself, my father would always put emphasis on the last name. I started seeing that. So I was like, I just think even though he's not physically here with me, he transitioned, and transitioned in with me, which when you lose a loved one, they're always with you. You know, they're around you, they're watching you. I believe they're like your angel, your halo. So they're always there. They're always there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just take the time out to just go through and read some excerpts from my book. Since we're in emotions, I'll talk to you a little bit about just my professional journey um, with emotions. So on Thursday, I dragged me and all my voices to my therapy office. I told her I don't think I'm suicidal. I just don't want to live anymore. Breathing can become so redundant. I always knew I would die young. I heard of suicide on the news and I wanted to be sad for them. I was so jealous. Maybe they wanted it more than I did. The day Kate Spade hung herself for a moment, I thought she was a hero, a damsel in distress that came to her own rescue. People thought she gave up on life on Thursday. I thought she was a renegade, a rogue soldier that finally protested, all of the ghosts screaming at her at night. I saw a magician, the way she made the black disappear, transferred her thoughts into doves. I saw a designer, the way she made her mind all pretty and calm again. Interior decorated the room with her body as a centerpiece. Maybe in that moment, she never felt more control in her life. Emotions is to be spaced, to be a grand yet be so empty and dark. Emotions is to be so grand yet but empty and dark. Emotions is feeling that God has left you. I knew it may seem negligent to speak of him in that way, maybe even blasphemy. I know for him to be so God but not to be so human, emotions is just like depression to be betrayed by friends. So that was like a dark moment. I don't know if you guys remember when Kate Spade, which was a designer, and at the time, like I told you, I was like heavy into fashion, and I looked up to her and followed her career for a while. And I will never forget, when she committed suicide. That's how dark my mind was. I was like, okay, she did it. I looked at it in a perspective of it was amazing, you know. Um, and then that's when I went to the therapist. I was like, I cannot be having these thoughts, you know. But just mentally, for someone to take their life, and just not even to take their life, but just going back to Kate Spade, from the outside looking in, she has it all. She has her career. Everyone knows her name. Like if you bought a Kate Spade bag, you knew of her, even though if you may not have physically seen her or know her, but you knew of the brand. And I'm like, in my mind, why would someone this well known, who we don't know what she was going through. I don't think it ever came out um, for that. So just give me 1 second. I just got a text that he's in the waiting room. And yeah. So yeah, give me 1 second. I'm going to send this over to him. tell you, technology is freaking amazing. I'm telling you that. We'll see. Yeah, so resending the link now to him. And let's see. He should be joining pretty soon. Okay.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I got
Yeah.
it.
I don't know what. I must have the wrong one. I apologize. I was waiting. I was like, what is going on? Am I doing something wrong?
Gotcha. No. You good. You good. I got was testing my improvisation skills.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
Yeah, you good. So how are you? How are you?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. It's been an interesting, well, it's been a busy day, but it's been good. I had some presentations I had to get for work, but it's been good. I'm good. How
Okay.
about yourself?
Same here. Had a
It's,
busy day, busy week, but it's the part of life and the part of growth. So I try not to complain. That's one of the things I try not to do.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Nothing wrong with that.
So Joshua, so who is Joshua? Like tell us who Joshua is.
Okay, so I'm originally from Houston, Texas. Um, I am 41 years old. That'll be 42 at the end of the year. Um, Let me see. I'm just a person, my whole theme, my whole brand is about being relentless. I've been through so much stuff in my life so far, good and bad, that has made me who I am today. And one of the things that has helped me become who I am is this understanding. First of all, just being able to accept who I am, accept my past, learn from my past, and I'm still learning from my past. I'm still a work in progress. I'm not there 100%, but just being able to learn from my past and be able to take those tools and build who I am and build this brand. Now I'm sharing my story. So that's what this whole relentless coach piece is about. For years, I have been doing like motivational stuff, inspirational stuff, just to empower and impact other people's lives, um, but on other people's terms.
Right.
And now I'm able to do it on my own term. And so I'm excited about this journey, being able to share my story as it relates to weight loss, as it relates to just some of my stories relates to my family and things like that I've been through. Just living this life. And so it's been really, really interesting journey. I'm just excited about it. Nervous at the same time, but I'm excited about what's to come. And so I just have some big dreams about the Relentless Coach brand and who I am. And that's what I
One
want to
thing
do now. I
about
want to impact.
like being nervous, I was taught that if you're nervous, then that means that you really, really you want it, and that's your niche. That's what you want to do.
Yeah, that's what my whole thing is. I want to be impactful, and I want to make sure that even if it's for people who are not necessarily on a weight loss journey, if my story empowers them to say, "Hey, I want to make a career change," or "I want to do something different in my relationship," I want something different in myself. I want to make sure that I'm, doing something different. And if I say something or talk about something or share something on social media that impacts them, that I feel like I've won, I've done my part. So that's what makes me more, excited about what I'm doing, and also nervous, because I want to make sure that I'm impactful. I don't want people just to be able to. I want people to support me, but I want people to be impacted by what I have to share, or what I'm doing. So that's the whole thing. And so, like I said, for years, over 20 years, man, I've been doing a lot of training, on the professional environment, as far as professional development training, working for different companies here in Atlanta. And I'm just able to do it on my own now. And so I've been launching out, I'm doing my own thing now.
How
And I'm
does it feel to be able to say you can do it on your own? How does that feel?
So it's in the infancy stage, and but it feels great. It feels great. I have been, tossing back and forth with this thought or with this project, maybe about 3 or 4 years now. And people have been trying to push me to go ahead and do it. You got a lot to share, you got a story to share, that kind of thing, and been building a following and all that kind of stuff because people have been excited about my story. They want to know exactly about, how did I lose weight and what did I do as far as the weight loss journey. But even with that, my life is much bigger than that. I want to share that piece that is important because that's impactful too. But I also want to share some other things that I want to be able to use to impact people's lives. But it's been a journey. It's been exciting. One of the things that I constantly I'm on myself about is making sure that understand that I'm not going to be a perfect example.
Mm.
I kind of feel like I want to have it all together before I'm able to go out there and share and do things. And that's not necessarily the case. This journey, you learn as you go, but you just got to just kind of step out there, step out in the water and do it. And that's what I'm learning. And so that's the part that's very, very exciting, and to be able to have a job now where I'm able to do this on top of my 9 to 5, and so that's exciting.
Got you. So I think that when I first, I guess, found out about you and everything, I want to say it was like the Transformational Tuesdays. I think that's what it
Yeah.
was. So I know you're talking about like weight loss. So how was that journey? Like, or what made you come to the realization of like, I want to change this. Like, I want to lose weight.
So here's the thing. So okay, now this weight loss journey, I have been on. It's a consistent thing. But back in 2000, maybe 2006, I lost weight initially. So I lost like 95 pounds. Okay, and at the time, the AJC had a segment in their newspaper. They would call I think it was something with the Biggest Loser, something like that, or from fat to fit, or something like that. Anyway, they featured me in the article. And so I
Okay.
was so excited about that. I lost this weight. I was so excited about that. I was in the article, and my job was excited. AJC was a big thing to be featured in there. They interviewed me. And so right after that, some kind of way, People Magazine got my information. People Magazine put out this article every year, something about weight loss journeys as well. So they were interviewing me and they were going to send the people out to take pictures and all this kind of stuff. Well, I was so excited about that I started eating again right after that. So right before they came to take pictures and everything, I gained most of my weight around. And so I say that to say this is my third time around doing it, but this time it's been so much longer, as far as doing it the right way and doing it for myself,
Yeah.
And excuse me, this time around I just started educating myself on different things as it relates to dieting, working out and stuff like that, and just being able to see the difference that I've made for myself and become more happier with myself. Now, I'm not 100% there where I just like, oh, I got it, it's good, but I'm so much better off than where I was, with even my whole thought process, with my confidence and everything, just growing up as a kid, I've always been a chubby kid. I've always been a fat kid. I've always been the one who was going to eat everything, and I still love food. I just changed my relationship with food and how I view it. I don't eat just to be eating, just to be greedy. Now I have my days, don't get me wrong, so because I love wings, I love fried food, but I do it in moderation. And I do stuff to make me happy. It's not about doing stuff now to satisfy other people. And that's what I tell people, I don't necessarily desire to be someone's fitness coach or nutritional coach and that kind of thing, but I can only tell you my story and what has worked for me. Because what you have to understand is that there are certain tools and things that are out there. You got to kind of redefine that so it fits your body, your needs, your nutritional needs, that kind of thing. So I've started to learn that about myself, so that I can apply it and be able to be successful. So for so long now, it's been like 6 years that I've been consistently on this journey. I've been consistent, haven't gained a lot of weight, during COVID, I gained a few pounds or whatever. But I'm not even looking at the number anymore. That's how I know I've grown, because I don't look at the number anymore. I just look at how I feel, what's going on with my clothes, that kind of thing. And continue to be motivated. Something on the inside of me just continues to push me to go work out, do what I gotta do, eat right. Now my diet's not 100% right. It's about 70% right now. Some days it's a little worse, but I'm just consistently, there's something on the inside of me that's consistently pushing me to focus on bettering myself. And especially as I've gotten older, because, my family, we have a history of high blood pressure and, diabetes and all that kind of stuff. And I was on that track to be able to have all of that because I was close to 300 pounds, but like 298 was my heaviest.
Oh,
And
wow.
so, yeah, and I was at 298, but I wasn't even 25 at the time.
Mm.
So I'd been heavy and just continue to go on that path of just being heavy and not really thinking about it, not stepping foot in the gym, not having any type of fitness at all. But now I'm just so motivated, and I've continued to be motivated. And now I just want to help other people in their story so they can build their own journey. Not
Right.
that they have to mirror mine, but just be able to know if they can do it. If I can do it, they can do it too. If
And
that's the whole.
that's the great thing that you said, because I battle that, with trying to eat right. And I'm like, I see somebody like, oh, I want my body like this, or I want to look like this, but to have your own journey and to have people be like, hey, for you to map it out for them, be like, this is what you should do,
Yeah.
or kind of guide them to it,
Yeah, you got to develop your own journey, because there was a point in time where I was like, you got to do A, B, C, and D. That's not necessarily the case when it comes down to weight loss and fitness and all of that. You got to of course, you got to know that you have your tools. Know your nutritional needs, know exactly doing some cardio, doing some workouts, things like that. But you got to then learn your body, know how your body responds to certain foods and how does your body respond to certain workouts, things like that. Then once you identify that part, hone in on that. And that's what I've done. Well, I know, okay, if we're going to Popeyes tonight, I know tomorrow I'm going to have to do an extra 30 minutes, an extra hour tomorrow. I got to I have a science to it now.
Right.
And that has worked for me. Now, it may not work for the next person, but that's just my story. So I said to say, I don't want people to think that, oh, he just got it. He's just on it. He does everything right. He eats right. Because I remember when I first lost weight, and people were just so excited about my journey, would know what I was doing. I would be ashamed to go places like McDonald's or Burger King, and somebody would see me, be like, "You shouldn't be eating that," But now, please, yes, I am doing this. I'm having a drink. I'm doing whatever because it's about balance. You know what I'm saying? And I want people to be able to connect with me on that level too, to say, "Hey, he's normal just like everybody else. He has his challenges as well." But I don't let my challenges overcome what my journey is about.
Right.
And so that's the whole thing. And I'm just excited about being able to share that. And with this piece, with Relentless Coach, because I've just been relentless, man. I'm not stopping. Even if God forbid I gain 50 pounds next week, I'm gonna do what I gotta do to get it off, or whatever the case may be, because I'm just not stopping.
Gotcha.
And me being determined to do that, I'm just it's working out.
So define relentless, because a lot of people are like, what is relentless?
So in a nutshell, not using Webster's dictionary, relentless is just unstoppable. Gotcha. No matter what goes on, I'm going to keep going. That's what relentless is about. It's about having goals, focusing on your goals, and no matter what obstacles come up, I'm going to continue to go on that path. I know what my end result is going to be, and so I'm not stopping it. And also understanding that you're going to have roadblocks, you're going to have stumbling blocks. But if I'm relentless, I'm going to continue to go through it. I'm not going to let that stop me. I'm going to just grow from those issues, and that's what it's about.
Right.
So
just on the topic at hand. So emotional, like, what was your emotional journey like throughout this process of just trying to find yourself, get your weight off, and then the new brand that you have coming up?
Yeah. So the emotional part of it, man. It can be a roller coaster for me still to this day. It kind of goes up and down, where there are some days when I was going through the process that I didn't feel like I didn't have that motivation as strong as I did the day before. And so, but what I would do is I would try to channel that emotion and put that into my workout. I put that into me going. I go running. I may run an extra 10 minutes or whatnot, so I can get those thoughts out of my head. I dealt with the piece of not feeling like I was good enough and always comparing myself to other people. One thing about going to the gym, especially in Atlanta, or going to any gym anyway, or even with social media, you always compare yourself to other people. I have done that for years. But I also understand that, first of all, my body type is not like somebody else's. I'm my own individual person, and I have my own piece to add to the puzzle. And I had to learn that. But I went through the roller coaster of emotions, feeling like I wasn't good enough. Feeling like, if I gain, I would be scared to eat certain things. I feel like overnight I'd gain 10 pounds. Or if I didn't go work out, I would be emotionally drained because I felt like, oh, I'm going to gain some weight tomorrow, those kind of things. And I'm like, this is all mental.
Yeah.
It's it's really all mental. I'm just beating myself up for no reason. And that's something that I have not mastered that piece. I will say that, but I've gotten much better. Where,
When I say, not mastering it, you're aware. Like
oh,
that's the
that's
best thing.
exactly it. That's
When
exactly it.
you're aware of it, because that was the whole thing, like, with me battling loss of my father, like I knew I wasn't myself,
Yeah.
and I was aware of that. But you have some people who aren't aware,
Yeah.
and continue to slip and drift into those emotions or whatever feeling that they're going through. So,
Yeah.
I wanted to call that out to say, hey, you're aware. You don't have to just master it, because
Right.
there are going to be moments. Emotions are human. We all go through
Exactly.
that. So, yeah.
Yeah. Now I can say during this journey, dealing with my emotions, because again, I grew up as a kid, I've always been heavy. You know what I'm saying? I've always been heavy. And there were a lot of times I was trying to place the blame on my parents or my family. But as I got older, I had the opportunity to make my own choices. So I just can't use that narrative anymore. You
Right.
know, I can't be like, well, my dad did this, or my mom did that, or my grandmother didn't do this, that kind of thing. Even though it is a part of my story, it does not impact who I am today and my choices that I make as an adult. And so I had to go through that piece and, be able to be, again, like you said, be aware of that as well and deal with that. And like I say, it's a consistent thing. It's definitely a consistent piece where I got to deal with those emotions, because there are going to be days, like even today, I usually go work out right after work, but today I kind of, I postponed for this interview. I still going to do what I got to do after this, because that, first of all, it's therapeutic for me now. It's definitely therapeutic way. It's just it's a stress release for me. And I have goals I have set for myself that I have to meet. I know I'm the only one that's going to push myself to do it.
Right, right. So I know you said like go work out. So you work out at a gym, or do you work out at home?
So both, but typically the gym.
Okay.
Typically the gym. Yeah. So I have a lot of little things here at home that I do. As far as like push-ups, pull-ups, things like that, jump rope when I'm not able to get to the gym. But usually I go to the gym. When I first started my weight loss journey, I was not going to the gym. I was intimidated by going to the gym actually. So I was doing a lot of running. With that, the weight had just dropped off. I lost a lot of weight, doing a lot of running. But again, just wasn't aware of how that impacted my body, because I lost the weight, but I was also losing muscle mass. So
Okay.
I started to educate myself on, how to have that balance.
Mhm.
I started to make those changes, saw the changes in my body as well. And so that was the big piece there.
Got you. So how did COVID affect you, with working out? Because I know you said you still worked out at home.
Oh my gosh, COVID, man, I thought I was gonna lose it when they closed that gym. Because even though I got stuff to work out at home, it's just different. You know what I'm saying? Even where I live, we got the home, we got the gym and the complex and things like that. It's just not the same for me, because I've become accustomed to leaving and going to the gym and getting
Right.
in that moment, getting that feeling. So COVID was really a challenge for me because, first of all, my nerves was everywhere, so that made me eat more anyway. And so I was doing that, and I lost a lot of that feeling of wanting to go to the gym for the first 2 or 3 months. When I couldn't go, I was like, well, just forget it. I won't go. I won't do anything. Became lazy for a few months, and then I kind of snapped back. But initially, it was a challenge for me, because for years I was definitely being active and going to the gym like clockwork. But then COVID hit, it just changed a lot of things. But it also put things in perspective for me as well, where I took
What I was
advantage
going
of
to ask
what
you
I
too, because I remember, when 2020 hit, everybody, you saw these posts like 2020 is the year of vision, it's the year of purpose,
right.
not knowing we all going to be on lockdown and then we have this disease, So did you have the time to sit still and, just think about like your future or what was next?
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is how the Relentless Coach stuff was. Like I said, I've been wrestling with the concept for a long time. I didn't know what approach I was going to go on. Was I going to do like active work? Because I wanted to think. I thought about doing it that way. Now I was like, no, that's not it. When you get that feeling of like, this is what I need to. This is my niche. I didn't get that yet until like towards the end of 2020, where I was like, okay, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. This is what you're excited about. This is what you're passionate about. You're already doing it. You already have a story. You need to share that. And so it allowed me to sit with myself. I went through a lot of stuff. I went through a relationship that ended in 2020 I went through, of course, with the COVID stuff and watching people, even people that I knew who had suffered. I had COVID myself at the beginning. It just wasn't severe as other people, thank God. But it just allowed me to refocus and reevaluate what life was really, really about. And for me, although it may sound selfish, I had to put me first again, which meant, everything, relationship, career-wise, my fitness journey, what I wanted to do, all of that. It made me refocus that and kind of rechannel what life is really all about and not take it for granted. Which means also, hey, live your life, live in your truth. For me, I had to do that. It's a lot of things that I was not, I don't want to say I had, I had a facade. I had a facade for years where I just couldn't really live in my truth and be who I really was. And all of
So
that came
why do you think that you couldn't live your truth and be who you really were?
because I felt like I had this, not necessarily a standard, but I had people who just really put a lot of weight on me, or who they thought I should be, or who I should, what I should do, or who I should be for the family, or who I should be for my job and that kind of thing. But it wasn't stuff that I really wanted to do, or who I wanted to be. Or I just couldn't do that. And so sometimes I found myself just going along that path, but it was just, I was unhappy, and it's like,
You think it was easy to just go along with that path and then not? Yeah.
And it wasn't fulfilling, and what I'm identifying now, even to this day, if I'm doing something and it's not fulfilling to me or fulfilling to my purpose, then I need to nip it in the bud. And I know now, I practice like the law of attraction, positive affirmations and that thing, like, and stuff like that. And so I can quickly identify when something's not for me. Oh, I need to get out of this, And so it has helped me be able to, have that right energy in my space.
But like, I'm listening to you because I'm the same way. Like, I'm centered around energy. I listen to positive affirmations. I fall asleep to them.
Yeah.
It's easy for me listening to you because I do it. But for the people who are out there that don't understand, it's a phenomenal, like, it's like I have a rose quartz on now. Like I have beads and jewel. I keep stones around me, for that energy aspect, and I would just say for everybody, do your research, and just reprogram your mind, because that's all you have to do. Like I've turned television off, I think about 5-6 years ago. Like I only watch like certain movies,
right.
But as far as like having that in my mind, because what you're surrounded by or what you put inside of you, it's toxic. It can change you that same way as well too.
Exactly.
So definitely agree with you when it comes to like having that balance, and you have to have conversations with yourself.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. I learned that. I learned that in 2020 as well. I learned that because I'm all about. I get up every morning and I have a list of positive affirmations that I say for myself. And it has helped me because most of my life I've always had a lot of negative thoughts on anything. I've always thought about the negative. If I was doing something, I always think about, okay, well, this may happen, And it's like, let me change that. It doesn't have to be negative. It doesn't have to have a negative impact, Even if something does happen, that's not necessarily something I want to, roll out. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to impact me negatively. I can learn from it. And so just being able to have this new frame of thought of, the law of attraction and having your positive affirmations has changed my whole perception. I've tested it out, and people who listen to this, I get up every morning and I know I have the responsibility of my day, meaning that I can channel how that day is going to go.
Yeah.
So I get up with a negative, and I check myself. I know when something's not right, when I wake up and I know that my energy's off, and I recenter. Because I know that I have the power to impact how that day is going to go. And I have to be careful what comes out of my mouth and how I feel in the morning and my thoughts. And so what I have learned to do is to recenter and refocus, so I get rid of those negative thoughts and cancel out that, because it's very easy for it to sink in, because we're human. Like you said, we have emotions, we deal with stuff. But we also have the power to rechannel that.
Right.
And so when you take that power, you just become more self-aware, and things just change. Because stuff is going to happen, don't get me wrong. But how it impacts you is what makes a difference. How you let it impact you, what makes a difference.
How you let it impact you and how you react to it. Because it happens.
Exactly.
Especially here in Atlanta, we drive and somebody cuts you off in traffic. You could curse them out and do all of that. But
Wow.
you know what I do? I tell them, you have a blessed day. Or maybe and then I look at it in a positive aspect. Well, maybe they running late for something, or maybe they're, this, So I
Mhm.
try not to be, negative when something bad happens to me.
Exactly. And I try to ask myself, what's the lesson I need to get from this moment? You know,
Mm,
what do I need to get from here so that I can apply it so that I can graduate? I don't want to I don't want to keep doing this part. I want to have this. I don't want to repeat this course. You know what I'm saying? So when things happen, what do I need to learn from this? What's my takeaway here? And I may not get it right then, but God allows me to continue to grow and get the information so I can grow from it. But the part like you mentioned, which really what just channeled me was being aware. When you are aware, you have the power again. But if
you
you
do.
kind of going through and you don't know, then you're just taking a loop on 285. You're not getting off the exit. Then you jacking things up. But when you become aware, I think that just really blesses you when you're able to do that because then you can make some changes.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
So with the Relentless Coach, like what all services do you offer, and where can everyone find you?
All right, so definitely on social media, all platforms of social media, and I also have my web page there as well, the relentlesscoach.coach. And so it's about the whole branding is about motivational speaking, life coaching, and I'm a fitness enthusiast. So not necessarily a fitness trainer. People ask me about training them. I already did that for a couple of years back. That's not
Okay, so
necessarily my niche. I don't want to train anybody, but I can provide
okay,
those tools to you and let you know my story, and I can let you know exactly what you're doing. If I feel like you need to make a change there so that you can have some results, that kind of piece there. And so, like I said, it's in the infancy stage of what it's looking like. It's just that for years I was doing like these motivational speaking, inspirational speaking, things like that, stuff for the church, holding classes and things like that. But I was doing it under somebody else's name. Now I'm doing it under my name, which is the
mm,
Relentless Coach. And so I'm excited about that. So it's kind of three components, like I mentioned: the life coaching piece, the fitness part, and motivational speaking.
okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. And then
Yeah.
the crazy thing about it is, I think that's the journey I'm going into.
Mhm.
I've never thought I would be going into motivation on anything.
Wow.
Because my passion has always been fashion, and then
Yeah, you all did that, yeah, and
which
modeling and all that, right?
yeah, with just losing, my father 3 years ago,
Mhm.
it brought something out of me, just to share my story. And then I'm finding other people going through the same thing.
Right.
And they're like, well, I felt like this too. And then being around people and uplifting them. So that was the whole purpose of like this live series, is
Right.
just to have a safe place where people can be able to talk, because there may be people out there that are exactly like you that's going through, whether it's the weight loss or even, with just trying to be aware and just finding their balance and energy, and
Mhm.
like, because that's the first time like I've ever like talked about, me being in the energy and everything like out there. So that's the whole purpose, for all of this. Even like last night, with the live with Sharonda, like
Mhm.
I have known people that have cancer, but I've never known someone who had a child that got diagnosed at the age of 2 with cancer.
Wow.
So how does that feel? So um, like I said, you're on the right path. I think we're both are, and that's
Absolutely.
why
Absolutely.
like I said, I've been following you for years, and just like your story just motivated me and inspired me. And I'm like, okay, so if it motivated me, then I know there's other people out there that it'll motivate and it'll inspire them as well too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, over the years, I've gotten so many DMs of people who were like, "Man, thanks for posting this. I post pictures, before and after pictures all the time." And at first, it was like, I know people are getting tired of me posting my pictures, but it's helping people every time. And like I said, it's been years now. But every time I post something, I'm going to get somebody to say something encouraging to me, or that it encouraged them, motivate them to get their tail to the gym, or change something, or it encouraged them to do, so that in itself made me feel like, okay, I'm doing something right.
Right.
And
And
so,
then it probably motivates you, because
absolutely.
people don't realize, like, they see us and they think, oh, they have this, they have that. But there are days where we wanna just give up, and it's days we don't want to do
Exactly.
anything. you
Yeah.
know. But it be that time where somebody send you that DM, you're like, okay, I gotta keep
I gotta
going.
keep going, right? I gotta keep going. And you hit the nail on the head because it's like you do have those days when you have all of that. I don't want to use the word pressure, but I'm like,
It's the weight. I guess it's the weight.
it's the weight. You have the weight of not necessarily being, but you have the weight of saying somebody's watching. So with that being said, now I've rechanneled that. I'm like, yeah, I want them to watch, but I want them to see my real journey. I want them to know that I struggle as well. I want them to know that I have days when I don't feel like working out, or I'm going to eat something I don't have no business, or I'm not motivated because I'm human. I'm going to have those days. But because I am, like you said, aware, I'm taking that with me. But because I'm aware, I know exactly what I need to do to rechannel that energy.
Right.
Put that energy back into going the way I need to be so that I can continue to be relentless. And so people, I get people all the time asking about, I'm watching your journey. I live, in California, and you don't know me, but I want you to know that, I'm doing everything because of you and that kind of thing. I get that all the time, and it is so freaking encouraging. And so I'm like, man, I'm impacting people's lives, so now I need to take it to the next level. God didn't put all these gifts and all these challenges and stuff in me for me to sit on it and be cute on social media.
Yeah.
That's not what it's about. And so now I got to share my journey. And even with me sharing my journey, that empowers me to continue to move forward and do the right thing. So when I do have those down days, I know I got to do this because God put me to do this. A post I can bless somebody, just by me posting something about me being at the gym. Somebody else can go to the gym now. Or somebody else can make a decision and say, you know what, if he can do it, I know how big he was. I know what he did. I know what he's been through. I know what his upbringing was. I know I can do it too. That makes me feel so good.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. That's what it's about. I want people to know that they can be relentless too.
Right.
Well, not just in fitness. I'm talking about in your career, relationships, whatever you got going on, you can be relentless, be unstoppable and unmovable as well. So that's my whole brand there.
Yeah. And it's phenomenal, and people probably don't realize it takes a lot of thought. It takes a lot of energy, a lot of planning. They probably think you just woke up and like, hey, I'm going to do this.
No.
I'll just tell you right now, like, I appreciate it. You've been an inspiration to me,
I appreciate
and I know to so many others, many others.
Yeah.
So I greatly appreciate you for coming on, your time.
Thank you for having me. This is really, really cool. I was so excited about it. I really was. I'm sorry we had an issue with the link earlier, but man, I really appreciate it. And I'm going to be doing a talk soon on mental health. A few therapists on as well to talk about mental health and Black males, particularly the Black gay male. And so that's something that I'm passionate about as well. And so I would definitely like to have you, come and, share some of your thoughts about that as well. So I'll give you some more information about that later on down the road.
Yeah, most definitely. Because that was my main thing with, because I actually got diagnosed with depression 3 years ago, with my father. And I was like, I would have never, people feel sad, but then when you get diagnosed for depression, I'm like, okay, people go through things, but most definitely, I would love to share my story. However I can help you.
Absolutely.
I'm there. Okay.
Awesome.
Well, thank you once again. I'm going to post up where they can find you at. I have all of that up here, so I'll post that up where they can find you. Okay.
Perfect. I appreciate that. Thanks a lot.
Well, you take care. All right.
All right. Thanks. You have a good one.
All right. You too. All right, you guys. That was Jousua. Phenomenal story. Was so glad, to have him on. And if anybody out there who is, battling, their weight loss or need a life coach, I'm going to put up Joshua's information up there now. Like he said, he's birthing his business. He's getting out there. His goal is to inspire and motivate and empower you to be your best self. So coming up next, we have Wes on vulnerability, which will be September the 18th. Just share it. I will be posting his story literally later this week. I'm telling you, it is a phenomenal story. And then I will have my pastor, my spiritual mother, Dr. Tanya Canyon, on September the 19th, which will be this coming Sunday. She is a phenomenal woman of God. She is a motivational speaker. She's an author. She wears so many hats and has so much going on right now. And not only that, but for the youth. Then we have my nephew, which will be September the 20th, Relentless Boykin. What I've realized, throughout these years, the passing of my father, his grandfather, we never really had a conversation about that. And like we just went through life like it was normal, you know. So we'll be definitely having a conversation with him and just talking about the passing of my father, his grandfather. And then lastly, I have Tony Enos, who is an artist. He is a writer. He has a single out now, and he's doing so much positive stuff in the community. And I would love to share his story for you guys to meet with him. And then lastly, tonight we had Joshua on, motivational speaker, life coach, and fitness enthusiast. You can find him on social media. His story is definitely phenomenal. You can find him at the Relentless Coach on IG, as well as at the relentlesscoach.com. His story is phenomenal, as you've heard. You see before and now. So I want to thank each and every one of you all for tuning in. Like I said, this has been a journey. You know, I'm glad that I was able to have this vision, bring it to life. So until next time, I will see you guys later. Y'all take care.